Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters.
Ah.
Yeah. Good morning and welcome back. You're listening to Scout Team Radio. And due to some technical difficulties, meaning Loudbeard forgot to hit the record button, we are bringing you into our episode 10 minutes in.
Wrestling is ever going to go step by step through one generation's life like it did for us, Loudbeard, as 80s and 90s kids.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is all very good sentiment there because you're right. It did. The Attitude Era was all the talking back that teenage era. The 90s was all the over-the-top costuming.
Yeah, gimmicky, cartoony.
I mean, even looking at The Undertaker, look how The Undertaker started and how he developed.
It was an action figure.
Yeah.
Hulkamania, the perfect American hero action figure.
Yep. And I want to thank all of our listeners for listening in. I do have to make one quick admittance to you, Chris America.
Okay.
I had forgot to hit the record button, so that first 10 minutes of our show, it may or may not have just disappeared into the abyss known as the internet. But it's recording now, so welcome. We're Scout Team Radio. We love you guys.
Yeah, so we're 10 minutes in on a 40-minute episode, so it's going to be a 30-minute recording.
It's all about quality, not quantity. That's what she said. I'm going to go back to this NBA lottery. I know we like to talk a little wrestling, and you're right about all these wrestling things that we're talking about. But I am so ecstatic about the Knicks and the Lakers not getting the number one overall pick. I feel like this is the right thing. Now, I saw some sentiment out on social media that maybe this is rigged, that New Orleans is partially owned by the NBA, so it's easy for them to get the number one pick, and that would be a rigging. But honestly, if the Lakers would have got it, I would have said it was rigged. Lakers ended up getting the fourth pick, which is a huge jump for them. The Knicks, if they would have got it, I would have said it was rigged, just because I felt like saying that. So no matter who wins the lottery, somebody's going to say this thing is rigged.
Well, I still think the NBA gets more money if the Lakers or Knicks get Zion Williamson than they do if the Pelicans get Zion Williamson, because as much as I hate to admit it, New Orleans Pelicans, I view the New Orleans Pelicans like I'm sure people in Louisiana view the Orlando Magic. It's just not an exciting town. It's not a big name brand. It's not a big name city, and I will forever go down saying that the Pelicans is more of a team name for a minor league baseball team than it is a professional NBA basketball team.
Yeah.
Whether it's the State Bird or not makes no difference to me.
Yeah, it's a terrible name. I agree with that. So, Chris America, I got a couple questions for you now that
I have a couple answers.
We've come through this NBA lottery. So what does this mean for Anthony Davis? Does this mean that he may want to stay, or do you think he will still take his stance that he is ready to jump ship and move on to another team?
Well, I think this doesn't hurt the Pelicans' chances if they want to convince him to stay. I just don't know enough about Anthony Davis to tell you for sure what I think he's going to do. But the guy that says he wants out doesn't seem like the guy who wants to wait around for another player to develop in the NBA and wait for another young guy to see if he pans out or not. I think he's just at a point in his career where he's ready to win and win now and be with guys who have been, in the NBA for a while, and he knows that I'm going to be on a team with a guy that I know is going to pan out rather than a guy that, yes, Zion Williamson is great. He was a great college player, but you still just don't know. You don't know until you know, and with the injury concerns that I have, I think he'll probably still want to say, no, I'm out. But I could be wrong. Maybe he does get excited at the aspect of playing with Zion.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. I think that he's still going to want to jump ship. He's still want to go because you're going to have to develop a young player, and he's ready to win now. He's in win now mode, and the Pelicans just aren't quite there. Now, the Pelicans, they're their GM David Griffin has said that he wants to try to keep Anthony Davis, and I get that. I get what he's saying there. But honestly, with the Pelicans, you get the number 1 pick, you get Zion. And now what you can do is take a guy like Anthony Davis and trade him for a ton of young assets, whether it's draft picks, whether it's players. Now look what the Los Angeles Lakers have. They have the number 4th pick in the draft. So if you trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers, you can get that number 4 pick, plus you can get guys like Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and maybe even Lonzo Ball. Then all of a sudden, you have a team with 4 top 5 draft picks on it, and a guy in Kyle Kuzma who has overplayed what his value was in the draft. So now you have a young core that could develop. Now, would it be the Lakers light where they're still not that good? Maybe, but Zion would be that key role. So I think the Pelicans are in the driver's seat now, and we could see some cool stuff happen here in the NBA.
And see, now I think that since they waited, I think that was great for them because, like you said, they can now go to the Lakers knowing exactly what pick the Lakers have. Where back in February, that pick could have been number 1 overall pick, and that pick could have been number 14 overall. You just didn't know. But now that you know it's the number 4 pick, that makes the trade talks far more solid and more feasible for the Pelicans to wrap their brain around and say, okay, now we can come to the table. The first thing we're going to want is that number 4 pick. And I think that that's the only team that they can kind of demand that high of a pick for Anthony Davis for, because the Lakers feel like they're the only team that has a chance to re-sign the guy. Why can't I think of it? Anthony Davis.
Yeah. No, I agree
everybody
with
else
that.
is just kind of like, okay, yeah, we want him on our team, but we're not going to give up too much because I don't know where he's going once his contract's up.
Right. It needs to be a team that Anthony Davis says he'll re-sign with, right? So, and maybe New York looks at this, and the Knicks have the number 3 pick overall. Maybe that's that trade asset that they're going to try to grab Anthony Davis and then pick up a free agent like Kyrie Irving to bring into New York and help make that team back to relevance. I don't know, but there's going.
Oh man, did I lose loud?
We're not really
again?
sure what's going to happen.
No, I thought I lost you, but it was just the internet cutting out for the first time instead of your mixer blowing up.
Yeah. Oh, was it my internet cutting out?
No, it was probably mine.
Oh, it happens. Yeah. So, funny story on that. So I have the mixer plugged into a power surge strip.
Yep.
And so is my little mini air conditioner that I have out here in my garage studio, and so is the computer charger and my charger for my sound machine that I have for all my drops. So I have all this stuff plugged in. Well, all of a sudden it just like popped, and I thought it was just the surge protector or the breaker. So I go to the breaker box, I flip it real quick, everything's good. But the surge protector, like the cord itself, had like melted, and I'm like, oh god, I'm drawing too much power here. Yeah, I was like, I'm glad this didn't like set on fire or anything. That's why I have a surge protector. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. So yeah, that all happened in the middle of the show. So while you were having to carry on conversation for a couple minutes the other day, I was putting out fires, literally. Literally. Okay, one other question for you.
All right.
What does this all mean for LeBron? Now that LA has a number 4 pick overall and they still have their young core, is this possibly another reason for the Lakers to trade LeBron, bring in another young asset in return for LeBron to help build this core, and they're going to maybe move forward with this number 4 pick, Lonzo, Kuzma, Brandon Ingram? Could they go young and try to rebuild and bring this team back up and jump ship on LeBron? Or do you think that they're going to still try to build around LeBron?
Well, let me ask you this. I kind of just thought of this. We were talking about the Pelicans trading Anthony Davis to the Lakers. What if the Lakers traded LeBron James to the Pelicans? What if the Lakers said, hey, you know what? We tried getting Anthony Davis here. We can't. Now we're refocusing. We're doing that young build around like you just mentioned. So we'll give you LeBron James for that number 1 overall pick. Fair trade, fair trade. And then now Anthony Davis and LeBron James can play together. It'll just be in New Orleans instead of Los Angeles.
That is a very good scenario, and it's very intriguing. I'm thinking about it now. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm wanting to say that that's a tough trade because you're trading your future for your now, and you do have
Right.
Anthony Davis now, and putting LeBron with them would seem like a slam dunk, right? Having LeBron and Anthony
Yeah.
Davis. Now, you would have to have Anthony Davis commit long term, and you don't know how happy LeBron will be in New Orleans. That's a little
Well-
bit of a question mark.
So this is kind of what I'm thinking, and why the now kind of makes more sense for New Orleans than it does for Los Angeles, because New Orleans, the only time they get big names is if they trade for them or they draft them. They're like I said, they're like Orlando Magic. There aren't many free agents that are huge that are going to say, I want to sign with the New Orleans Pelicans, sign me up. So yes, it's going to be a short term now, but they've been in New Orleans for how long now, and they've never given that fan base anything to really be excited about. They've had moments, when Chris Paul was on there, it was like it was a little bit exciting, but we all knew New Orleans wasn't going anywhere with Chris Paul. And then when they had Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins, again, it's an okay team. They have exciting players, but it's not going to go anywhere. With LeBron James and Anthony Davis, maybe they can acquire a third piece. Maybe now New Orleans looks like a place for someone like Klay Thompson or Jimmy Butler to sign, to say, I want to play with those guys. And maybe it works like that. Yes, it's going to kill their long-term success with maybe having Zion Williamson. But again, it's that whole thing, like, you don't know if he's going to pan out. And then, like you mentioned yesterday, there's no guarantee that Zion Williamson will even stay with his original draft team.
Yeah, this is all true. So he could, in 4 years or 5 years, be like, okay, New Orleans, peace, I'm out of here.
Right.
So New Orleans may already be like, okay, well, what do we do? So I'm pretty sure that all of these NBA teams are going to vet every possibility and see what it's going to be to get these players to stay and get these players committed. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Honestly, the NBA lottery, and I think it might be because we're Orlando Magic fans, in the last 7 years, I've had to sit there and watch the lottery hoping that we would get the number one pick, and we haven't. But it's become one of the best non-sport events that I like to watch. One, because it's short. I don't have to commit like 4 hours watching it like the NFL draft. Like, it's one of those things where it's quick, bang, bang, bang. We know what's going to happen. It's like 20 minutes, and then you're done. The other thing I like about it is it really changes the landscape of the entire NBA because of something fluky like picking balls out of a bucket. And I like that for some reason. It's crazy. To me, it's bizarro world.
Yeah, to me, though, I think it causes more tanking than it does stopping tanking, because especially when the top three teams get the same odds, now you have three teams trying to tank so they can get the number one overall pick as opposed to just one or two. And then if I'm like the ninth, like if I'm somewhere like hanging around playoff mode and then my player gets injured, now let's just go into tank mode and see if we can increase our odds to hopefully get a number one overall pick. And I like what you're saying, but for the regular season, I think the lottery causes more tanking than it stops it.
Well, they worked on changing the formatting up a little bit this year to help prevent tanking. That's one of the reasons why the top three teams get the same percentage. So before it used to be the top team, the worst team got the highest percentage. So they leveled it out. Now here's what it did this year, is it changed the odds for all the teams, and instead of having top three get it, they actually had a top four lottery. So the top four teams were in the lottery, not just the top three. So they changed that up. And when you look at the results, 3 out of the top 4 teams, percentage-wise, were the Cavs, the Suns, the Bulls, and the Knicks. The Cavs, the Suns, and the Bulls, all who had the worst records in the NBA other than the Knicks, all missed out on that lottery. So they're at picks 5, 6, and 7. So this helped out even the odds. So now that's not game-changing when you get the 5th, 6th, or 7th pick. That's not franchise-changing.
Right.
You have to get that number one pick. So they are working hard to prevent tanking, but I don't know that you can ever fully prevent tanking when you have a system like the lottery.
Yeah, so I just think they should just do what the NFL does and just go draft order. And I don't think many teams are going to tank as much as they do now, because again, like if I'm 7 and I see New York and Chicago with like 10 more losses than I do, I'm not going to be able to catch up. So I'll just stay where I'm at. I don't know. And then I also think this will never happen, but I've also said that after maybe the All-Star break, whatever teams are not in the playoffs, like if the playoffs started today and you're not in them, then you have to give a discount to your tickets, a percentage of your losses. So if you have 27 losses, you have to give a 27% discount on all your tickets on the entire arena. And the more losses you have, the more of a percentage you have to, like, again, they'll never agree to that, but that's just what I think should happen to kind of help prevent teams from tanking.
Gotcha. Okay. I dig it. I dig it. Well, Chris America, you know what else happened in the NBA last night?
What's that?
There was a basketball game.
There was?
Can you believe that? Yeah, there was a basketball game. Golden State, man.
Are the Magic still in the playoffs?
No, the Magic aren't in the playoffs.
Sorry, I'm just warming us up for Anthony Mack.
Yeah, okay. Good job there. Golden State sends a message to the Blazers. They come out hot. Curry was hot. He ends up with 36 points, 9 3-pointers made. Klay Thompson also looked good out there, 26 points. Draymond had one of those Draymond games when he had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals, basically being involved with every facet of the game. And it was just too much for the Blazers. And both McCollum and Lillard were cold. Blazers were cold shooting altogether, 7 of 28 from three-point land. And it wasn't the best game for the Blazers, and they kept it close in the first half, but Golden State blew the doors off of it in the second half. And they take the 1-0 series lead. All right.
Yeah.
I still think the Blazers will bounce back. It's just game one. Don't overreact, Chris America. I could feel an overreaction coming.
Well, we said that Portland was going to have to come out guns blazing and be the one to send the message to the Warriors, and that didn't happen. The Warriors ended up sending the message to the Blazers. Now, I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to say the Blazers are done, but the message that the Blazers need to take from this is we got to come hard, and if we don't, we're going to get swept. 19 points from Lillard, 17 from McCollum. Those two guys, they're going to have to just play out of their minds. They're both going to have to play at their top. Mo Harkless, good to see him contributing, but you just need more, man. It's just they have a lot of guys in double digits, but they're all under 20 points, and it's just not enough, man. A 116-94. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. On a side note, Enes Kanter, he played pretty good. A lot of rebounds last night. He was a rebounding machine. But unfortunately, his fellow countrymen in the country of Turkey are unable to watch him because the Western Conference Finals were banned in Turkey because Enes Kanter's playing.
Well, I mean, you don't want a known terrorist to
Can
be
you believe that
on your
terrorism
television.
strikes again?
You can't have a known terrorist be on your TV screens. Okay, it's just not kosher.
Yeah. And for the no, it is not. And for the backstory, Enes Kanter is from Turkey, and he has talked very critically of the president of Turkey, and because of that, he has been dubbed as a terrorist, and he has been dubbed as a criminal, and he is not welcome back in his own country.
Oh, no, he's welcome back. And when he does, they're going to arrest him and do whatever the Turkey government wants to do to him. Like, it would not be a good time for him to go back. And I know we joke, and I know Enes Kanter's probably never going to listen to our show, but I do feel kind of bad for the guy. Like, I cannot imagine being like a basketball player in another country, and because I talked bad about Donald Trump or Barack Obama or whoever the president is at the time, and I become a known terrorist in my own country to where if I ever step foot in there again, it's not going to end well for me.
Imagine that in our country here. How many terrorists would there be if we labeled
everybody on Facebook would be a terrorist.
The entire Facebook community.
Well, half of Facebook would be a terrorist today, and then like 4 years ago, the other half would be a terrorist. It would be ridiculous.
It's so true. It goes both ways. So Golden State looked great, and I'm gonna just move on from that game. I'm gonna talk a little Major League Baseball.
Hold on,
you got
sir.
something. I'm going too fast. I'm holding on.
We need our Chris America performances of the night. They're all three on the Portland Trailblazers. They all three combined for 6 minutes, 0 points, 0 assists, 0 rebounds. That is Scal, and I'm going to butcher it, Labissiere. Is it French? Labissiere. And then you have Jake Layman and Anthony Simmons. They each played 2 minutes each. 0 goose eggs across the board. Congratulations, fellas. You all played like Chris America last night.
That's what they played
Love it.
like right there.
Yeah, just like that.
Beautiful.
Okay, baseball. Go.
Baseball talk coming to you hot. A couple news and nuggets here in the Major League Baseball realm. Vlad Guerrero Jr., the number one prospect that is now in the major leagues for the Blue Jays, gets his first career home run. Big home run for him. Helps the Blue Jays get a win over the Giants 7-3. And then this story kind of struck me a little odd, Chris America. The Red Sox, they have a huge night last night. They break the record for most strikeouts through 9 innings. Chris Sale had 17 strikeouts through 7 innings. And then Brandon Workman and then Matt Barnes added 2 strikeouts each in the 8th and the 9th. But it is not enough. They still lose the game. How do you lose when you can throw 17 strikeouts through 7 innings and then add 2 more in the 8th, 2 more in the 9th, and you still can't get a win? This game ends up going into extra innings, and the Rockies win 5-4 when the Red Sox ended up with a ton of strikeouts. Wow, that's a bad way to lose a game.
Yeah, strikeouts can be a little deceiving of a stat line, too, because you can give up 3 home runs in an inning, and they can score 6 points, and then you strike out 3 batters in that inning, and it's still you're down, 6-0 with 3 strikeouts on your resume. So it's a little bit deceiving, and we also know that it's why I hate win-losses for pitchers. I think it's dumb that we do that because you also need run support. Your batters need to hit well too, and if they're grounding out and going, 3 up, 3 down, it's going to be hard for you to win as a pitcher.
This is all true.
But Loudbeard, I'm looking at the standings since we're talking about the Red Sox, and we are halfway through May, and the Rays are still the leading team. But the Yankees and Red Sox, even though the Red Sox lost last night, they've both woken up. They've decided it's time to play baseball, and the Yankees are only 1 game back, and the Red Sox, who have been at the bottom of the East for all of April with a really bad record, they're now 4 games back, 22-20 record.
Yeah, this is the Red Sox we expected from the very beginning. I mean,
Yeah.
We may have gave up on them a little too early. I was looking the Score, one of those sports outlets that I like to look at from time to time to get some of my information. They came out with one of their power rankings a couple days ago, and I was checking it out just to see what's going on. And our Rays, who were number 1 in the power ranking, dropped to number 4 because they've had kind of a 500 type go at it the last 10 games or so. And a guy like Tyler Glasnow, who was pitching lights out, is on the injured reserve list. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. He had a injury that has hurt him. So Rays are still looking good, but they haven't kept that form like they had early in the season. They're just, a little mid-season, just, 500 streak. Not a big deal. But a team that's hot right now, 2 teams that are hot, I have to say, Astros and Dodgers, man. These guys are world beaters right now. Sitting there at 1 and 2 in the power rankings. Both of them look like they're going to be contenders this season. And I don't know. Astros, they've bounced back, and a guy like George Springer is having a career season. I don't know, Chris America. Baseball. What can I say?
The Astros, man, that's the team you got to put as your favorite if they're really hot right now because they've been there before. 2 years ago, they won the World Series. A year ago, they're in the ALCS. That's the team right there. That's the team that has been there before. They've done it, and they're 16-4 at home this season. That is a ridiculous home record. But then they're 12-11 on the road. So maybe you got to make sure you have home field advantage against the Astros if you're going to play against them, and you can win that series.
Yeah,
it's kind of I've never seen like that much of a Jekyll and Hyde team where it's 16-4 at home and then 12-11 away.
It's still above 500 away. That's, I guess,
it is
positive, right? I take a positive out of that. And they're getting good play all around. Garrett Cole right now is pitching really, really well. And then a guy like Michael Brantley has a really great batting average. So you're getting contributions all around. And I think the Astros right now are that number 1 team. And the Dodgers aren't far behind. Cubs have also bounced back quite a bit, Chris America. You were quite critical on the Chicago Cubs early in the season. Very critical, I have to say that. And they've been hot of late, and you can't say anything bad about the Cubs now, can you? Can you?
Well, I know a couple of days ago somebody tweeted out that the Cubs was the dumbest team in baseball, and then you'd mentioned our good friend Sean Daly. He's a big Cubs fan. So I quoted the tweet and I said, "Can you confirm?" And he says, "They had made some stupid moves lately, but the Mets and the Marlins still exist. So, no, they're not the dumbest team in Major League Baseball." And since then, it looks like the Cubs, everybody's true to form right now, it seems like. The Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Astros, the Dodgers, they've all, they got rid of that spring fever. They've stretched out their legs, and now they're ready to be the dominant baseball teams that we know them to be the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, and the Yankees could be scary once they get some of their guys off of the
is Aaron
list.
Judge still gone?
Yeah, they got a lot of injuries, man. They've had a ton of
injuries. So they're doing well
injuries.
without Aaron Judge. And Well, Loudbeard, are you ready for some hockey talk?
Let's bring it up. Hockey talk.
Your kiss of death.
Okay. Do we have to talk about hockey? Because my Canes, okay, go ahead.
Your kiss of death, I think it is the true kiss of death here, because there's nothing worse for a fan base to get excited, to get hopeful, to make it to a conference or even a conference finals or just an overall finals, and then get swept. And Loudbeard, I think that's what your kiss of death have done. Your kiss of death put their fan base into a false sense of security, a false sense of hope, and they didn't allow as many goals this time. You said 11 goals through the first 2 games. Now they've only given up 2, but they didn't score enough goals. They lose 2-1 at home. They're now down 0-3. Are your bunch of jerks done?
Yeah.
All right, that was Hockey Talk. Brought to you by...
You want me to get excited about us being down 3-0 in a series? You want me to get excited about that? The Boston Bruins are playing amazing. I can't do anything to help my Canes out. I feel like that bunch of jerks, they need some energy and some passion, and it's so hard to have that when you're down 3-0 in the series. Now, could there be an epic comeback? I think there could be, and I would love to see that. There could be.
Well, Hockey Talk brought to you by Compact Computers. Get yours today at any of your Best Buy, Circuit City, or any of your other computer store outlets.
All right. Cool story, bro. I'm going to talk tonight. We got a big basketball game, NBA. Giannis, he's coming in hot. He makes the comments, and I want to get your unadulterated opinion on what this means. Against Boston, you can go down 1-0 and still be fine. But against Toronto, it's hard to be in that spot when you lose the first game when you are at home. That's what Giannis said.
Yeah.
Is that shots fired to Boston, or is he just saying Toronto is that good?
No, you can say that. It's shots fired to Boston. I think he kind of doesn't care about that, because I think he's looking at that Boston roster like we were the other day, knowing that those pieces are all going to be gone. So it's not like they can come back and beat them. And he's right, though. You can't go down 0-1. You can, but it's going to be a lot harder. You can't spot the Toronto Raptors the first game out of the gate, especially when you have the home court advantage, and now they take it back game 1. And, Toronto's going to be a tough team to beat, but I could say the same for Toronto. Now, they can go down 0-1 because they're not at home, but you still don't want to spot them any games that you don't have to, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, and what Toronto's really going to have to do is go 1-1 in Milwaukee. That's
Split
their
the
goal.
series.
So even if they go 0-1 to start the series, if they can bounce back and get that win in Game 2, and they come out of Milwaukee 1-1, they get back that home field advantage or home court advantage, and then that all of a sudden becomes Toronto's series. So Milwaukee has a lot of pressure to win both of these games at home, and Giannis is right. They can't mess around. They cannot go down 0-1 against Toronto in Milwaukee. They have to get these games at home, and hopefully they come out with their best. And Giannis sounds like he's ready.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, if you lose the first game, now you have to win 4 games before they win 3. And now you're going to have to string together a couple of back-to-back games and make that happen. Whereas if you go up 1-0 and then you go down 1-1, then you're like, okay, now it's even Stevens. Now we just have to win 3 games before they win 3 games. It's just kind of the way I look at it.
Even Stevens, wasn't that a show on Disney?
Oh, it was a great show with Shia LaBeouf. That was
love
when he was
Shia
at his
LaBeouf.
finest, I thought.
Well,
was
Chris
when he was on that
America,
show.
Shia LaBeouf, with that note, I have to say, it's about that time. We're having a short show today. Thank you all for listening in. Shia LaBeouf.
That's a good note to end it on. Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Hey, if you missed any of our show, make sure you subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or ScoutTeamRadio.com. See ya!